G'day there guys, and welcome to some more stories from Reddit. My name is Connor and thanks for joining me today. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okay, our first story was posted on the True Off My Chest subreddit. It was written by a now deleted account, and it's titled, "My parents disowned me 5 years ago for false accusations. Now they want to talk." English isn't my first or second language, I'm sorry. I am bisexual. When that happened, I was still in the closet and didn't tell anyone about my ex or our relationship. My ex and my family were my whole world. I thought I had a good relationship with my parents. I had inside jokes with my dad, shared hobbies with my mum. I also had a good relationship with my sister, 10, at the time. I didn't drink, smoke, or be late most nights. I wasn't perfect, but I wasn't that troubled teenager of a boy that didn't even deserve to be frickin' heard. In the summer, my ex and I planned to sleep over at his parents' house. I know it was a stupid decision to sleep at his parents' house when no one knew about our relationship, but I was 19, stupid and hormonal. His parents heard us, and his father entered the room and beat my ex-boyfriend. When he tried to hit me, his wife grabbed him, and I quickly grabbed my clothes and ran away and went to my home. In the evening of the next day, my father entered my room and grabbed my hair while my mother was crying and telling me if I'd raped my little sister as well. I didn't understand what she was saying, and I told her of course I didn't rape her, but my father said that I was just a mistake and dragged me out of the house and told me that if I didn't run away from him now like I ran away from my victim house yesterday, he will turn himself into the police because he will be murdering me. I tried to call my ex-boyfriend to make sure he was okay, but he didn't answer. When I called my grandmother, she told me I should be ashamed of myself and I should surrender myself to the police, and that she would support me if I did this. I tried to ask her what was happening, but she said that she couldn't bear to hear my voice and hung up on the phone. I went to the house of my close friend Angel. She wasn't at home, but her father was. I call him Uncle. I did not plan to talk to him, but I could not stand it and cried in front of him. He listened to me and assured me that I had a place in his house and to not worry. The next day, my uncle sat me down and told me that he spoke to my father, and he told him that I had raped my ex-boyfriend and forced him to do things he didn't want to do. Had it not been for his parents discovering us, I would have continued the assault. I was shocked and showed him the messages that were between us. I don't remember what happened, but I was crying hysterically and Angel was holding me and my uncle calling the ambulance. After I got out of the hospital, we spoke with a lawyer and reached an agreement with my ex-boyfriend that he would confess to my family that it was a lie, otherwise I'll file a defamation case. All the evidence was against my ex-boyfriend and he accepted, but it wasn't enough for my parents because they sent me a legal disowned letter. I'll spare you from the details, but know that I'm fine now. 2 days ago, my parents sent me a long message asking to talk. They said my sister died and they wanted me at the funeral on Friday and to talk. I told them to F off and to give the funeral location. They told me either I talk to them or they won't give me the time or location. I want to see my little sister, but I don't want to see my parents. The thought of them only makes me sick. But what did I do wrong to deserve this? Be gay? Oh geez, this is a delicate situation. Let's see what the comments think. Mortician here. Not all families get along. You could call the funeral home and arrange a private viewing just for you. We've done this in the past and set up a secret time for the person to view and grieve in peace without other family members. Everyone has a right to grieve. The funeral home should be more than understanding. Go to her grave on your own terms without them. This blackmailing is proof they haven't grown and become better people in the time apart. The fact that they will not just outright give you the location of the funeral is very telling. It shows that they don't really care about you or your feelings, they just care about themselves. So sorry. My advice, for what it's worth, is move on with your life without them. If your sister has passed, then you know she is not suffering. Now live a wonderful life without the toxic involvement of your parents. At some point, you can find where your sister is buried and visit and tell her all that you want. I've done this myself and it helps me a lot. I've visited my friend's graves for 41 years and never spoken to his family since his death as they blamed me. I was never to blame. Don't look back. Okay, Opie gives a quick edit. My uncle is actually my friend's father. I call him uncle out of respect for him. He isn't related to my family and doesn't know anyone except my parents. I couldn't find my sister's death record online as some suggested, but I spoke to my aunt and she assured me that my sister had died. I asked her about the location of the funeral, but she refused to tell me. I see a lot of comments saying they are lying about my sister's death. I don't think they are. I have nothing. I'm not successful. I don't own my own company or my own home. I don't even have kids. Okay, now onto an update. I will be referring to my relatives by you and A. You for my uncle and A for my aunt. I would be calling my friend's father uncle. Before the update, I want to answer some questions. Why did they accuse you of your sister? And who accused you? I don't know. Why don't you search for your sister's name online instead of talking to your family? I tried, but I couldn't find her name. My friend told me that sometimes these things take up to 2 weeks to go public. Why not ask funeral homes? I tried, but the law in my country is different. Why don't you lie and tell your parents you'll talk after the funeral? My parents were very clear in the messages that they wanted to talk before Friday. Why not ask your family members? I did. I asked uncle and auntie. You told me that he doesn't want to be in a family fight, and A confirmed my sister's death, but she didn't want to give me the location. I didn't want to continue asking because my family is small, and I don't want to risk my parents knowing about my search for the funeral location. About my ex. When my ex-boyfriend confessed, he said that his parents wanted to kick him out and stop paying his college fees, so he told them that I'd him, and he wanted to report me to the police to shut his father up, but his father told him not to do that, so he thought his parents dropped it. He didn't expect his parents to go and talk to my parents. The update. Thanks, Reddit. I took a lot of your advice. This happened 2 weeks ago. After the post, talking to auntie and uncle, I decided to meet my parents. I didn't have much time until the day of the funeral, and I didn't want to miss it. Many of you advised me not to go, but I hope you understand my position. She is my only sister. I know that she has changed and isn't the same person anymore, but I was going to say goodbye to that child that I remember, not the person she is now. On Wednesday evening, I told my uncle about my decision. I didn't need to ask him if he could come with me or not. He beat me to it and said he'd go with me. I asked Angel and another dear friend of mine, and they accepted. I spoke to the same lawyer who handled my allegations. I asked him to supervise my meeting with my parents. I did not expect him to accept, but surprisingly he did. He tried to confirm my sister's death, but unfortunately, due to lack of time, he couldn't. On Thursday morning, I spoke to my parents and told them that I would meet them this evening, but on my own terms. 1. I will have a lawyer and we will meet at a law firm. And 2. Half an hour after our meeting, my parents will give me the funeral location or I will leave. My parents tried to argue, but I put my foot down and they agreed to my terms. When I got to the law firm and saw my parents for the first time in years, they smiled at me and waved like nothing had happened. After they sat down, the lawyer started recording the meeting and introduced himself before mentioning my first and new last name. My father disowned me and I legally lost my last name. I heard my new last name a lot in the past 5 years, but in that moment, it felt real. I don't know how to describe it, but the realization that I was actually disowned hit me. I feel that my parents felt the same way, because the joy on their faces disappeared after hearing my name. After the lawyer finished explaining everything, the meeting started and my parents spoke to me as if the past 5 years had not happened. I was disgusted when my mother tried to hold my hand, but I pulled away. My parents didn't say anything worth mentioning. After half an hour, my lawyer asked my parents to give me the funeral location. My father said that when the family goes through difficult circumstances, they support each other. My friend interrupted him and told him my new last name. My parents seemed devastated, but my mother continued and said, "Do you know those feelings that you felt when you heard the news of your sister's death? I will feel them soon." I was confused and asked her, "What does this have to do with the funeral location?" My lawyer spoke and asked my parents if my sister died or not. My father tried to change the subject, but my lawyer repeated the question and my father said no. You were right, Reddit. It was a lie. My sister didn't die. The writing was on the frickin' wall, but I couldn't see it. Nothing written in the message was real. After my father told me that my sister wasn't dead, my body felt very heavy and I couldn't breathe. That's all I remember. I was told that I looked like a ghost. My lawyer tried to talk to me, but I didn't respond, so he decided to end the meeting. But my father objected and started yelling at me. I tried to run, but I fell and started vomiting excessively before I passed out on the floor. I feel like an idiot. I can't believe I fell for this lie. I kept telling myself that my parents wouldn't lie to me about this. We're not in a TV show or a movie. I kept telling myself that Uncle, who hates family drama, wouldn't get involved in something like this. I can't believe they did this to my sister. For F's sake, I'm their son. When my dad told me that he was going to kill me, I never thought he would do it. But now, I'm not sure. I don't know who my parents are anymore. I don't even know why they lied. After the meeting, they sent me a message asking if I was okay. They didn't apologize or even give me any explanation whatsoever. I filed a restraining order against my parents and anyone who's involved, including uncle and auntie. Some of my relatives contacted me and swore to me that they had nothing to do with what was happening, and that they thought that my parents were going to talk to me about my grandmother's illness and her desire to see the family together. Some of them even sent me medical reports proving her illness and her wanting to see me. But I don't want to see her or any of the family members ever again. When my ex confessed his lies, she didn't believe my ex. She said I pressed my ex legally to lie about not being raped by me, and I should stop lying and confess so everyone can move on. What hurt me the most was that she wanted to fix me. She was sending me places that treat rapists and Me Too stories until I gave up and blocked her. The police were called on my parents. My sister is currently living with one of my relatives, and no, I didn't talk to her. My therapist advised me not to. I currently live with my uncle. I feel safe near him. He helped me a lot without question or hesitation. He even took care of my pet bird for free. I owe him, Angel, and my friend a lot. Even in my teenage years before this happened, they were always by my side. I don't think I would have survived without them. I hope my sister has the same support too. I don't know why my parents resorted to lying about my sister, and I don't think I want to know. I lost what little respect I have for them. Thank you, Reddit. I don't know how this would have ended without your advice. Well, so there you go, guys. That's the end of that one. Good to hear the sister's alive. Yeah, I thought something fishy was going on there when I read the first story. But yeah, I think the best thing Opie can do in this situation is really just move on. I don't know, what do you guys think? Any advice? Let me know in the comments and we'll go to our next story. Okay, this next story was posted on the Am I the A-hole subreddit. It was written by user Village Crazy Man, and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for yelling at my grandson? Hello, I, James, male, 58, am in some hot water with my family and thought this would be a good place to get a neutral option. My grandson, I'll call him Henry, male 27, often comes with me to play golf. We've been doing this since he was a child, and it's a tradition that we hold at least twice a month. Recently, he started bringing his girlfriend, I'll call her Georgia, a 25-year-old girl. She doesn't usually play with us, which is fine. She often sits in the golf cart and reads or listens to music and gives us snacks and drinks when we ask. She's a nice girl who I approve of my grandson being with, but there's only one problem. Henry often talks down to her, belittling her intelligence and sometimes just making fun of her. It makes me uncomfortable, and I can see on her face that she doesn't like it, but she never says anything. We went to a party recently for one of my other grandkids, and Georgia came. Once again, Henry started belittling her, calling her stupid and telling her not to fill up her plate too much. I pulled him aside and out of the room and told him that he needed to be nicer to Georgia. I admit I went off a bit and raised my voice, but I didn't realize how much I raised it. I was apparently yelling at him for about 10 minutes and then left. A lot of people heard and asked him what had happened, but he just left with Georgia. The day after the party, his parents, my daughter, and her husband told me that it was none of my business what was going on in Henry's relationship and that I needed to apologize for trying to wedge myself in. They keep calling me asking for an apology, but I don't want to. Am I the a-hole? I think I might be because I embarrassed my grandson in front of our family. Edit. I admit I lied about our ages. I'm not comfortable putting our real ages here, but when I didn't put it in the first draft of this post, it was deleted, so I just picked some random numbers. I'm sorry for any confusion this caused anyone. I didn't think it was a big deal. Alright, let's have a look at the comments. Not the a-hole. I'm trying to wrap my head around a 58-year-old with a 27-year-old grandson, but you did nothing wrong. I hope his girlfriend noticed you standing up for her and appreciated it. It's kinda weird your family's not supporting you, but your mean grandson instead. Are they not aware of how mean he is to her? But regardless, you are being a good grandpa trying to help your grandson be a better person. Not the a-hole. Nothing wrong with jumping someone's crap when they're out of line. You pulled him aside. If he has a problem, maybe he should treat others better. Not the a-hole. He made it your business when he continually mistreated his girlfriend in front of you. If he's comfortable treating her like that in public, I don't even want to think about how he treats her in private. Do not apologise. The only people who need to apologise are A. Henry to his girlfriend for treating her like a punching bag, and B. Henry's parents for burying their heads in the sand and pretending not to see it. They failed as parents. Okay, now on to the update. Hello everyone, James here again. I wanted to say thank you for all the advice on what to do. Quite a bit has happened since this all happened, and I think you'd all be interested. I spoke to Henry and apologised for yelling at him. I realised that I'd never raised my voice at him before this incident, so I understood why he was so shaken up about it. But I also explained that I wasn't sorry for what I said, and that he needs to be nicer to Georgia. But apparently, he won't have that chance. Georgia left him, which is unfortunate because I was looking forward to having her as a granddaughter one day. But I suppose this is the best outcome for her. Me and her had lunch earlier this week, and she thanked me for standing up for her. After speaking with my grandson and his parents, I realised something. He may not have learned that behaviour from his father, but from his mother. I thought I'd raised her better than that, but she talks down to her own husband and makes jabs at him. I'm not sure how I'd not noticed it before, but I guess it never really occurred to me that abuse can be more than hitting, or could be from a woman, but I'm educating myself about it. But I talked to her about that and she's convinced that it's okay. I explained to her that it's not, and Henry is learning from her. I haven't gotten through to her yet, but I'll keep trying. Thank you all for your advice and kind words. I'd also like to apologise again for the whole ages debacle. I'm a little paranoid about putting my age or any personal information online or on a website, so I usually lie. When I tried to leave out the ages before, the post was deleted, so I just made something up. I guess I should have picked better and more realistic ages. Well, sounds like a good guy, standing up for her like that. And yeah, probably is for the best that Georgia leaves him. Like, that's not going to be a behaviour that changes easily. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this one, and we'll jump to our last story for today. Okay, we're staying on the same subreddit. This one was written by user Trash Girlfriend, and it's titled, Would I be the a-hole if I go on vacation instead of my brother's wedding? My brother, Tom, 36 male, and I, 26 female, have never really had a solid relationship. Due to our age gap, we didn't spend much time, and by the time I was old enough to develop a personality, he was moved out of the house. For the last 2 years, my brother and his fiancée Sarah, 32 female, have been planning their wedding, and it's coming up in September. I was asked to be a bridesmaid. I figured I was only asked as a courtesy since I'm her soon-to-be sister-in-law, but I still took it seriously. I've been a bridesmaid for the last 2 years. Just a few weeks ago, I managed to save up to buy the $800 bridesmaid dress. Overall, in the last 2 years, between group outings to parties, dinners, lunches, clothes, etc., I spent thousands of dollars. Eventually, all the girls in the wedding and I became extremely close, and I started to get hyped for the wedding. Sarah recently got close with her brother's wife, Becky, 30 female. Last week, she dropped the ball on me that she no longer wants me to be a bridesmaid, and she would prefer if Becky would take my place. It broke my heart a little, but it's her wedding, and it's not my place to tell her how to run it, so I said it was fine. Yesterday, I went to my brother's house to pick up the bridesmaid's dress, and was going to see if I could return it since it was within the time frame. Sarah was completely appalled and said that Becky was going to wear it since she and I are the same size. I said that would be fine, but they'd have to pay me the $800 for it. Sarah said that Becky couldn't afford it, and I should just be nice and let her use it, and said that I could keep it after the wedding. I explained that I'm not just giving away the dress, and I'm not ever going to use it after the wedding. After some bickering back and forth, I just ended up taking it and leaving. My brother and Sarah tried to compromise with me and said I could be the assistant flower girl, and I felt offended at the offer. After I said no, they then said that Becky could give me $250 for it. Again, no, and I returned the dress and got a full refund. I told them I understand that it's their wedding, but they are being extremely disrespectful to me, and I don't need to deal with it, and I'm not going to the wedding. Today my coworker says she has an extra round-trip plane ticket to go to Miami that she'll sell for me for half price, plus I'll have to pay for half the hotel, and I can go hang out with her in Florida. The only downside is that I'll be in Florida for the week of my brother's wedding. So, will I be the jerk if I just go party in Miami instead of going to my brother's wedding? I mean, personally, I'm going to say no, go party. What do you guys think? I'm going to throw it to you guys. Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.